The World Championship is over and new cards dropped in Master Duel, so let's look at the top 5 best decks right now. Also stick around because at the very end I'm gonna add some honorable mentions that might also be interesting to try out when ranking up. It's really important to keep in mind though that the Master Duel World Championship brought us some fresh and new ideas when it comes to the best decks right now. But if you want some new and refreshing ideas when it comes to maths and science, you'll love today's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is the best way to learn math, computer science, and data science interactively. With their beginner-friendly courses, even us Yu-Gi-Oh players could learn new skills, and after that, you can delve into the more advanced topics. I myself am interested in the course Computer Science and Programming, specifically level 4, where you get to experiment hands-on with neural networks. To try everything Brilliant has to offer free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/solemnyugioh or click on the link in the description. The first 200 of you will get 20% of Brilliant's annual premium subscription. On number 5 right now, we have branded and/or branded Tearlament. There's really no right or wrong way to play this deck. Branded is really just fusion good stuff right now. As long as branded fusion is resolving, this deck is going to be crazy with a lot of follow-up and a lot of power. Another really useful thing branded has going for it is that it can run Bistchels. Bistchels are essentially Tearlament's worst nightmare, and so whenever Bistchels are actually part of your engine rather than just hand traps, they become extra powerful. Now you all know I've been hyping up Tearlaments inside branded for quite some time now. I'd like to say a few months, and not many people were really catching on to it fully. But lately, when you check out some of the tournaments that have been happening, branded Tearlament seems to be the most topping variant of branded. Who would have thought? The best engine together with a strong engine makes a good deck? Crazy. Cartesia, of course, is also an absolutely crazy card, especially since it leads to the craziest card, Grand Guignol. This card can dump anything in the game, essentially. You might think, oh, it's only light and darks, but guess what? Almost all the best cards in the game are lights and darks. And when it comes to lights and darks, Branded loves to run a bunch of those. On number 4, we have the now iconic Sprite. Now our level 2 spam dot deck has evolved a lot throughout the years. We first started off with all the Swap Frog, Ronin, Toadin kind of plays. In the TCG we even had Totally Awesome on top of that. Then gradually we started playing the Melfi package in order to make a quick Herald of the Arclight or Merry Melfis in our opponent's turn. Of course, Herald of the Arclight is especially powerful right now because Tearlaments has a tough time dealing with it. You're usually gonna have to waste your battle phase just to remove this card to then afterwards really starting to play. Sprite also has a lot of room, so it can afford to play Bistchels, and now it even has Kashtira Fenrir on top of that. But to be fair, almost any deck can run and will run Kashtira Fenrir. Now there is a bit of a clash between the Bistchels and the Kashtira Fenrir, but in the end, as long as you don't run too many of them, it won't really come up often enough and will remain worth it. On number 3, we actually have a deck that I haven't been fully respecting enough, and that is Rika. Rika has been known to be a very powerful deck ever since the last European Championship back in 2022 when Marcus Patel ended up conquering the whole event with them. Afterwards, we saw other famous Rika players like Jess completely destroying and annihilating various tournaments to the point where Rika won the European Championship yet again the year after. And after that, at the World Championships, Jess ended up getting top 8 again. Now, Master Duel, of course, is a little bit of a different beast than TCG, but the deck is essentially unhit here. Now you might argue Maxi might throw a wrench in their plans, but at the end of the day, Rika is still an incredible engine that also soft counters Tearlament. The Rika Con field spell can remove the Tearlament monsters without letting them return back to the field, so Kaleido Heart and Rulkolos will be tributed for cost and will just stay dead. Another powerful part of this deck is that you have a 1-card combo, and when that combo resolves, it is essentially an FTK. More importantly, it is actually extremely hard to hand trap this deck. You might Ash or Imperm at a given moment and turns out, oops, they can just play along. Whenever this deck goes first and you're starting to use hand traps, you often feel like you're hand looping yourself. And so to almost no one's surprise, Rika has gradually been getting tops all over Master Duel events, despite not being played that much. This is not a very popular deck. There's not that many players actually entering events with this deck, and yet still, Rika keeps getting tops. So this is one of those rogue picks that ends up being extremely good still and converts well, which is why I'm putting it on number 3. On number 2, we have Dragon Link. Dragon Link is a deck full of dragons. I know, shocking. But you know what else are dragons? Bestials. Tearlaments, always seen as the tier 0 meta threat, doesn't like facing bestials. And just like with Branded, whenever the bestials are also part of your actual engine on top of being hand traps, your deck has a better Tearlament matchup. Beyond that, this deck makes incredibly powerful boards like Boral and Dragon and so much more. But whenever it gets hand trapped, it can also just end on a seal with a couple hand traps of its own, and it's very hard to break this very simple minimal board. It recently also got a new toy in the form of Chaos Angel, which is another big threat for any deck that has to use its monsters to out certain things. For this reason, Dragon Link has actually been the rising star in Master Duel tournaments the past few weeks. Almost every single top 8 has Dragon Link as the first or second most represented deck. Of course, Paulie winning the World Championships with Dragon Link probably also increased its popularity ever so slightly, but despite that, I think even if the play rate were to go down even a little bit, I think Dragon Link is still one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. And on number 1, we have the biggest shock, of course. It's still Tearlament! Ah yes, the deck that mills and then pluses and then mills and then pluses. It really cannot be stopped, and if you try to stop it on your turn, it will just play on. Even if you maxi it, they can easily end on a Tearlament Skitkalos plus a Solic and then just build the rest of their board in your main phase. Add to that the fact that Sprite Elf is still legal in Master Duel, meaning they have the endless recursion together with Merly, and they have very easy access to this card through Dark. Recently, Kashtira Fenrir was also added to the mix, and now you once again get to choose between Kashtira Fenrir and the Bestials. Of course, once we get Tearlament's Kashtira, the card, Fenrir gets even more powerful, and this deck actually gets even better, so watch out for that. I myself have been having fun with a Kashtira Tearlament's deck, but I don't actually think that is the very best way to run it right now. In the end, pure, all-reliable Tearlament is actually still the best deck, and I confirmed this with our current Master Duel World Champion, Quantal. So if you don't take it from me, just a YouTuber, take it from the literal World Champion. So thank you so much for that, Quantal. Now, of course, there's a lot of other powerful decks, and so there were 2 more I really wanted to highlight in a little bit of an honorable mention section that I normally don't do in these types of videos. The very first deck is Runic Naturia. Unlike in the TCG, Runic Naturia is relatively unhit in Master Duel. Sure, the Runic engine has a couple hits to mess with its consistency, but in the end, the power is still there, the follow-up is still there, and the Naturia engine is essentially unhit. You still have triple Sacred Tree. We saw Joshua Schmidt do extremely well with this deck at the World Championships, and so I had to mention it. However, the reason I didn't put it in the top 5 specifically is because we haven't really seen it perform, I feel, in any other places as much. It might literally just be a Joshua Schmidt effect right now. The second deck I wanted to mention is Labyrinth. Interestingly, it has kind of fallen off despite being in a lot of the World Championships decks. A lot of people in the top cut had a Labyrinth in their 6 picks, and so it's definitely a deck I still want to respect. I also enjoy playing it, but for now, when I'm looking at other results coming in, Labyrinth is really not doing as hot as some of the decks on this top 5, and that's why it's currently not included. With that said, that is all for today. I hope you found this very interesting. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Did you know that only a couple % of all the viewers are subscribed? What's going on with that? Go subscribe. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon. Ciao.